All right, folks, in no particular order, Angel Tree, another holiday drama. Let's hit it.
I don't normally buy Christmas presents for my students because I teach middle school and that's like 120 students. And even if I spent $1, that would be $120 plus tax. So I don't typically do it. I'm a single mom, right? Okay, so this year I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put together a little treat bag for them, and I'm just going to do my homeroom, thinking, this was going to be the way to go. So I sat and filled up bags, and there was like, candy cane, 7 pieces of candy or something like that. I mean, it wasn't anything major, but it was still the point that I still had to spend a lot of money on candy. Mind you, as the students were coming in the door today, I was handing out bags as they came in. The first encounter was no thank yous in sight. Like, I hand you the bag, say, Merry Christmas. And they just grab the bag and walk away. Then 2 students come in. I grab one bag and hand it to a young lady. And as I'm handing it to the young lady, the gentleman behind her says, really? Really? And I looked at him and I was like, really what? Like, well, I don't understand. As I'm grabbing another bag, he realizes he's messed up. And I said, did you really think I was going to give her a bag directly in front of you and not give you one? And he was like, no, no, no. And I was like, well, here you go. Merry Christmas. Did I get a thank you? No. 5 thank yous today, y'all. 5. Never again. Never again.
I will tell you, I teach middle school. Those who've been following this channel, I'm in my 19th year of teaching middle school. This is one of the risks that you take when you buy something for an entire class. I was raised with very polite social manners. You were expected to say, please, thank you, elbows off the table, stuff like that. So as a teacher, it's like I would like to be able to, first off, I'd like to have the money to afford to buy all the student stuff, because she's right, because I have around 140 students myself, and $1 for each kid. And what can you get for $1 really, out of a teacher's income? And there isn't classroom budget money for those who may not know. It's not like schools have a lot of money to say, hey, give your kids, holiday treats or whatever. It does come out of the teacher's pocket. After 19 years of teaching, I don't like to say I'm smart enough to know better, but I'm smart enough to know that I don't really buy the entire class treats. I have from time to time been known, when I have a really close relationship with a student, to kind of hand them something, privately. Okay. Or I think once I even did it through their parent. It was like, here, because you don't want to make a big fuss out of it to the whole class. But those are very special relationships. But to just basically say, I'm going to buy everybody a treat and then expect everyone to be thankful for it. No, that's not going to happen. I can't even keep a box of colored crayons together, without them hitting the floor. So I have to be honest, as a teacher, I really don't provide a whole lot of colored crayons either, because miraculously, when I stopped buying buckets of colored crayons, they didn't hit the floor anymore. You know why? Because they belong to the students. And the students took much better care of their colored crayons than they did mine. So I still provide them, but the students more or less have to come and ask me for a box. Hey, it's the real world, folks. So I understand this teacher's position. Her heart is in the right place. I'd like to do it too. But you can't do that and then think the students are going to say thank you to you. Unfortunately, it's just the reality of it.
A family that me and my boyfriend bought Christmas gifts for off the Angel Tree at our Walmart. 3 children, okay, 12, 8, and 3, okay. There was a drop-off location. We dropped him off. Now, Mom doesn't know that we are the ones who got all the gifts. Tell me why this morning when I woke up, she's on Facebook Marketplace trying to sell gifts. Every single gift she is trying to sell right now. Gave her the gift receipts. She's trying to sell them. What do I do?
My thought is you do nothing. I kind of look at gift giving like this. Once you've taken it and you have made that transfer of the gift, whether it be money, materialistic objects, whatever, it's up to the receiver to decide what to do with it. Does it suck that they're gifts for the kids? Yes. But if we take a deeper look at it, what would happen if it was the difference between selling those gifts and keeping the lights on for another 4 weeks? We just don't understand how tight the financial situation is. It's why I can't really judge. I mean, on the surface, I can say, man, no, that's a lousy mom. Yeah, the kids get gifts and you're just going to turn around and sell them on Facebook. But me likes to think that if you're having to turn around and sell gifts for your kids on Facebook Marketplace, that you are in such dire need. At least I would hope you would be. Not that I'd want you to be in that position, but if you're going to resell packaged gifts that were given to your children, it's because you're literally trying to keep the lights on. That would be why you would do it. So it's really hard to judge this without more information. I just can't make a judgment. On the surface, yeah, it sucks. It's not cool. The gifts were given to your kids. But if I look deeper, there may be a more desperate situation there than we're aware of. That changes things. Basically, look at it like this. If someone says to you, can I borrow $50? Let's just throw out a dollar figure. Does it really matter what they're borrowing the $50 for? Does it really matter? Does it matter if they say I'm borrowing $50 to feed myself, or I have a pet, a vet bill that I'm short on, or I need to keep the lights on? Is there are we, to some extent, the one lending the money, okay? How much right do we have to play judge, jury as to whether or not the money spent is being used usefully? The most that I could really think of is I will give it, and if it really doesn't meet what I wanted, then I just wouldn't do it again. Hope that makes sense. But it's really out of your control. I mean, I can say, what is it for? Okay, that sounds reasonable, and I'll lend it. But once it's out of your hands, they can turn around and do with it technically whatever they want. So if you would have an issue with that, then I probably wouldn't do it. I would hope that the person I was giving it to would take the money, or in this case, take the donation and use what it was intended for. But if it's going to give you like a really grinchy heart and stuff to do that, then you might not want to do that. There are no easy answers. We need more information on this to really make a judgment.
One of the reasons that I don't go home for the holidays is that a lot of people haven't grown since I left. They haven't had 10 years of growth. They've lived the same 6 months 20 times. And when I go back, they want to meet me in my past. And so they want to speak things over me that aren't who I am anymore. And then because it's difficult for them to connect their perception of who I used to be and who the person is standing in front of them, reconciling those two things is really difficult for a lot of people because it's breaking the box they want to put you in. But the reality is that most people don't change. Entrepreneurs do because we have to. We call it growth instead of change.
Okay, let me just back. I always like to back so you can see what it is I'm talking about. Okay. This one actually kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It can go in two different directions. So let's take a look at the two directions his comments can go in, okay? First off, he talks about it's difficult for him to go back home. He's had 10 years of growth, and basically the people back home have not seen the growth and the world that he's seen through his eyes over the 10 years or so that he's been away from home. I respect that. I appreciate that. I think it's something that a lot of parents want their kids to experience. A lot of parents want their kids to get out in the real world, go out, go travel, do what you can do. All right. But in my eyes, it doesn't mean that you can't go back home and just simply enjoy the more simple aspects of life. I'm trying hard to look, because I actually had to listen to this one more than once, because at first I was like, oh, how dare he say that? But I'm going to assume that he's taking this in the nicer stance, and that is, okay, yes, you can go out, you can travel, you can see the world, you can do all that stuff, and maybe it's difficult to express some of the things you've seen. I think of it kind of like soldiers, okay? People who have served in the military. It can be very difficult for them to go back home and to express the things that they've seen. But it doesn't mean that you can't appreciate being back at home. It doesn't mean that you have to belittle or look down as unworldly the people that have not had the worldly experience, that have traversed the world like you have. In other words, I'm hoping he's saying this in a more positive aspect, because my parents, when I go home, I know that dad's going to be sitting on the swing. I know this, okay? My stepmom's going to be in the kitchen, and I'm going to be telling her, Mom, sit down, you're doing too much, okay? I mean, I just know these things, all right? But I don't look at it and go, man, they haven't traversed the world like I have over the last, whatever years. And so I can't appreciate it. In reality, they've been everywhere. They've traveled, they've climbed, hiked, biked just about globally. So I'm just kind of giving an example, though, as far as me, I've been away from home for the last 20 years. But it doesn't mean I can't go home and appreciate it. His thing about most people don't change, they don't have to change. There is nothing that says you have to go out and experience the life of, a world traveler, which could include things like you have to go out and go to your dream college and get into, thousands of dollars worth of student loan debt. Is that something they have to experience too? All right. So when he says most people don't change, they don't have to change. No one's obligated to. And what one person may think of as no change, for somebody else, it could be a huge amount of change. He talks about entrepreneurs and how, I guess, somewhat superior entrepreneurs are, because he is one. I will attach at the end, okay, a video, and I've done lots of them, but I will, for a complimentary sake, attach at the end of this video a story about an entrepreneur who made his entire family go broke. Matter of fact, I'm starting to rack up so many of them that I've almost lost track. So I guess some people could throw some ick into the water and say, well, entrepreneurs, we call it growth, change, whatever. Okay, they call it growth. What I think you said. Well, there are plenty of entrepreneurs that have took their family straight into bankruptcy. So is that the change and growth we're supposed to be looking for? So I'm going to assume he means this in a positive way. I'm not sure. I kind of question it, but just because the world hasn't traversed like you have and they don't want to be an entrepreneur doesn't make them any less. That's just kind of my thought. So yeah, I will attach that at the end on an entrepreneur, and I have many stories, but I'll attach one of my favorite. Okay, it's an entrepreneur who put his family in 6 figures of debt, and we have lots of stories like that. So if that's the growth and change that he's looking for, I kind of question it.
Don't change. Entrepreneurs do, because we have to. We call it growth instead of change.
Am I the bad guy for intentionally not getting my children what they asked for Christmas? For context, I am a 28-year-old mother of 3 boys, 11, 7, and 5, whom still believe in Santa, except for my 11. Every single year, without fail, they get 5 things each under the tree, and then they get a massive Santa, including a big ticket item. For example, last year, my 2 oldest got 2 big flat screen TVs, 2 controllers, 2 game systems, 2 brand new phones, and a whole bunch of Nerf guns, toys, and brand new shoes they've been begging for. My youngest, who was 4 at the time, got tablets, phones, and a whole bunch of toys. Literally everything they asked for, except for their phones were one of the newer Androids. I didn't buy iPhone because they didn't have 2 matching iPhones, and I wasn't going to get them 2 different phones so they could fight. On Christmas Day, my oldest and my middle son come in the living room and seen their Santa set up and literally sat in front of their stuff and rather watch their brother. And when I asked them why they went messing with their stuff, is because they didn't get iPhone, Apple brands, or anything that they really wanted for Christmas. They wanted the brand new PS5, not the brand new Xbox that had just dropped, that I had just bought. They were unappreciative, rude, and disrespectful, and said maybe next year we can do better. Because of that, this year, I am planning on doing Christmas way different. All my children will get maybe a bike, maybe a controller each, basketball each, a basketball goal, a couple of Nerf guns for Santa, and that's just going to be about it. Because I am sick and tired of dropping anywhere from $700 to $900 per kid for them to not appreciate it. So tell me, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. As a matter of fact, that's a generous gift of so-called punishment. I was raised to be grateful for everything that I got. Now, as a kid, you always want the dream toy and whatnot, okay? I was never quite as happy when I got the socks and the clothes. It's like, oh, yay. It's the toys and the food that we want, okay? But we never, ever insulted our parents. ever. That wouldn't, I have to be honest, okay, I'm Gen X, all right? I'm 57. Guys, that wouldn't even be a thought. That wouldn't even be a thought to insult our parents. And we did, that didn't matter if we knew it was Santa was our parents or not, okay? It wasn't even a thought. So somewhere along the line where they've been raised, not blaming the mom, don't know the home situation. Somewhere along the line, these kids have felt very entitled to getting what they want. If they don't get it, they feel bold enough to state it. That's a problem. That wouldn't be happening in my parents' household. Let's put it that way.
And what would you buy a 7 and an 11-year-old who don't appreciate anything?
My thing right now is about drones. Because I always see in those lists people talk about, they're like, they shouldn't be asking for an Xbox or an iPad or drones. Because those are too expensive. Okay, I was just in Target. And take a look at what I found. So yeah, there are drones that are $30 at Target. I'm pretty sure there are drones $20 other places. They're not the fancy ones you see in the YouTube videos where people have the camera goggles where they're watching the drone fly around. Yeah, that's not the only kind of drone out there. And actually, a drone is a really reasonable, normal gift for a kid to want right now and to request.
It's interesting. When I was requesting gifts growing up, I have to be honest, I never thought about how much it was costing my parents. I never did. And I don't think kids do. Okay? So if it was, I'm sure, I just always remember getting what I wanted. I was raised by two school teachers. Okay? My parents split up and remarried when I was about 15. But during the years of growing up, before the ages of 15, I pretty much got what I wanted for Christmas. I really did. But then we also weren't taught to be greedy. I mean, I didn't ask for really expensive ticket items. Okay. But we have to remember, kids aren't thinking about how much things cost for the most part, maybe depending upon their age. Okay. But I never knew you'd get a drone for $30. I truly didn't. I always thought of drones as, at least a couple hundred. So that was kind of new information for me. But yeah, I mean, the worst came to worst is, you didn't get it. But then again, my parents raised me to ask for reasonable things. I'm the same person, if I go out to dinner with you, I'm not going to order the $100 steak, okay, and expect you to pay for it. It's just that courtesy.
We have answers why the mother who was upset about her angel tree items actually is upset because she didn't get the items she put on her list.
Okay,
now
really
there was
quickly,
a follow-up.
Really quickly, before she goes into this, and I thought about playing, the pre-drama on this, and I decided not to because this woman summarizes it really well. But long story short, a mother goes and picks up her angel tree items. None of the items are what she asked for, and she throws a TikTok rant, which on the surface looks really bad, makes the mother look ungrateful. The person who bought the items, and of course her TikTok rant goes viral. The person who bought the items, of course, sees the viral TikTok rant because everybody lives on TikTok. The person who bought the items basically said, geez, how dare you be upset? I bought all this stuff for your kids. Okay, and it was verified. Okay, she was the person, she bought all the stuff. She's going, the mother saying, I'm grateful. I bought everything on your list. Well, there's a little bit more to the story. And then you begin to realize both the mother, the one who received the gifts and was upset because none of the gifts is what her, angel tree items requested were. And then the person who bought the gifts was upset. You realize they're actually both kind of innocent. So hear this out.
Video of the buyer, and the buyer came through and said, there's no way I bought 2 out of the 3 items for the 5 children that I had on my list. Here is what this comment is saying. Apparently Angel Tree will gift people gifts who were not picked off the tree, essentially to make sure that they're getting something. But oftentimes this leads to people getting the wrong sizes, too big, too small, toys they didn't ask for. But essentially they just want to be able to give gifts to them so that they aren't without anything. Now, the mom who made the video is upset because she said, I didn't ask for literally any of these items. And that's why she's upset, because she didn't receive anything that she could actually use or that was practical for her children.
And on the surface, it makes the mother look greedy. Okay, well, geez, mom, you should just accept whatever you get. But there's more to it.
Buyer is upset because she's like, I cannot believe these people are so upset. I can't believe they're so ungrateful. I bought the things, and I guess she's just not happy with the ones that I had chosen to buy, that I didn't buy all of the items or enough of the items. But what has happened is actually the buyer had a list that she followed. So she actually did do the right list. But Angel Tree gifted those items to the wrong mom, because that mom and her children were still on the Angel Tree. And this actually explains it perfectly, because it doesn't really add up. If you had Angel Tree items and someone followed your list, there would be no reason to be upset. But if you wrote a list and Angel Tree gave you somebody else's list, it would make perfect sense why this mom is upset and why the buyer is confused, because she actually bought the gifts.
That sucks all the way around. So I have to give the mom some grace. The mom was upset in the sense that, she had put this list down for her kids, and then she gets the kids' stuff and it's nothing of what she wanted. And let me tell you, it was name brand stuff, okay? I think there was like a soccer or basketball in there or something like that, a woolly cap and stuff, but it went to the wrong family. That's just the bottom line. It went to the wrong family. Oh.
Do not get a child off the Angel Tree if you plan on being trifling and inhumane and writing donated on the gifts. We are not humiliating children and parents this year by doing this. If you are so worried about what's going to happen to the things you give the kids after you give it to their parents, don't do it, because your heart is not in the right place.
You'll notice at the bottom, you can see where it says donated items. They've crossed out the is it UPC number. Okay, I think that's what it's called, UPC. They've crossed that out. I have to admit, I would have just crossed out the UPC if you don't want them to return it. But to write donated items, I mean, you got to think about, a young child. Maybe not so much elementary, they probably don't care. But you have plenty of kids that are middle school age. They can read that donated item, and it's just kind of emotionally deflating, and it's probably somewhat embarrassing for the parents. Okay, that's kind of that's tacky. I would agree. This girl's delivery style is with passion. Okay, she's with passion, I will admit.
Do not get a child off the Angel Tree if you plan on giving them your kids old hand-me-down clothes. There's nothing wrong with hand-me-down clothes, but these kids are poor. They're living off hand-me-down clothes in day-to-day life. Don't you think they deserve a new outfit, a new pair of shoes, new underwear and socks for Christmas? Your heart is in the right place, but these kids deserve better. Do not get an angel off the Angel Tree if you plan on giving them your kids old toys or toys they don't play with, that are half broken, that are dirty. These kids deserve better.
If people are giving stuff out like that, yeah, that's pretty lowballing. I mean, there are donation baskets and bins you can donate to around town, in the back of your Walmart and what used to be Big Lots around here. Okay, but yeah, she's only saying it because, like I believe, they only say it because someone's done it. I mean, for Christmas, really?
They're used to getting stuff like this. It is Christmas. These kids believe in Santa Claus and Christmas magic. Get them a new toy. Don't give them old stuff. Do not get an angel off the Angel Tree if your plan is to go to the $1.25 tree and get 2 or 3 little cheap gifts. That's not fair to those kids. Get what's on those kids' list. Don't get what you think the kids should have. That is not right. You can see what they are wishing for. If something on their list is too expensive, don't get it. Pick another one. That's the best thing about the Angel Tree. All the information is right there for you, and you can pick and choose. There's no shame in not being able to afford it. I understand your heart may be in the right place, but you have to realize these are children experiencing miracles. These are parents being able to do things for their kids they never thought they would have been. They swallowed their pride and they did these forms.
All right, you guys, we're going to go into the next TikTok right up here. I was just telling you a few minutes ago about the guy who said he's had growth because he's an entrepreneur, and as such, he's having a hard time going home and relating to those who have not grown. So we're going to go right up here. We're going to watch another entrepreneur story. So I'll see you in just a second.